All right, can you hear me? All right, so hi, hello. My name's Patrick Roddie, run StopSprayingUs.com. And we're at war. You may have noticed. This is a global battle against all life on Earth. People talk about NATO. No, China gets sprayed, Russia gets sprayed. And it's not just the spraying. We are getting attacked electromagnetically, through our food, through our water, through vaccines, through everything. This is full spectrum dominance, and it's got to stop. I have been talking about the spiritual aspect of this, because this is what you see here today, including my body, is just a small fractal of a much larger reality. When you listen to your gut, that is spirit talking to you. And spirit has told me, we'd like you to help stop this thing. So the way I'm this year, remember when we thought our phones were being tapped? I mean, everyone here knew, but at some point, everybody knew our phones were being tapped. This is going to happen this year with the spraying. And that may seem like a grand thing, but I have a plan. Last year at the Vancouver event, I actually laid it out. I said what I was going to do. It's quite simple. I am going to show not only how many people are being killed by this, but I'm going to get their names. Starting in San Francisco, I've already put in a Freedom of Information request, a Sunshine Ordinance request, for all their death records between 2013 and 2016. Within that time period, I have 500 time lapses giving an exact description of the sky, so I'll be able to see if there are persistent contrails, incredibly rare sundogs, whatever. I have all that stuff, and all I have to do is match that data to the deaths. If people are 5 times more likely to die of respiratory failure when the skies are absolutely blanketed versus a clear day, that means those people who died on those days of those ailments will have an 80% chance of being killed by that. And these people have names, they have Facebook friends, they have lawyers. I'm starting with San Francisco. I'll be making a global database. And what I'm going to do, everybody, I'm making a call now. Everyone, no matter what country you're in, whatever county you're in, you do a Freedom of Information request and get all the electronic death records of your county as far back as they have them, and it will be free. You don't have to pay per death certificate. They tried that on me, and I said, no, here, this is your rules. We play by their rules and bury them with it. Because and this will become a global database, there will be an app. You'll be able to take a picture with your phone, and every picture that you take with your phone has the date, time, and location. That will get embedded in the map, and as we're getting real-time death reports in, heavy spray days, you'll be able to see that day who is dying. This data, the San Francisco data, I will be presenting at the Berlin Geoengineering Conference in October. And I'm going to say, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. And they'll try to suppress this, but unfortunately, thanks to the Pirate Bay and WikiLeaks, there is technology. I'm going to start with 4 servers. There will be a server farm offshore, and everything will be released under GPL 2.0. Free. Free as in speech, not free as in beer. And this will be indestructible. Anyone can download it. There'll be torrents every night for the entire database plus changes, and they cannot put a lid on this. And then people will start to see, oh, my uncle who died, my daughter, my cousin, my drinking buddy had a X% chance of being killed by this. That is going to make people wake up. And it's, I actually appreciate the other side. They keep us honest. They challenge our perceptions. We have to be bulletproof in our facts. And one of the main ones on Facebook is chemtrails are killing us. Kaku, bless them. They were there at the conference last year. And they're on Facebook and stuff. They keep us honest, and I appreciate their determination. They're as determined as we are. Well, we are a little more determined because, we're on the right side. They just have the wrong boss. But chemtrails are killing us. They try to make that a joke. England, Scotland, and Wales, 2016. Top causes of death, heart attack, cancer, stroke? No. Number one cause of death in the United Kingdom, well, England, Scotland, and Wales, dementia. Not heart attack, not cancer, not stroke, dementia. Dementia includes Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is caused by aluminum. Number one cause of death. So, what about the United States? Well, easy enough. All you do, you go to cdc.gov, and then you do a search for 2016 mortality statistics. No results found. It's May. In April, I offered to send them a copy of Excel so they can add it up, or maybe a calculator or something. No, they are hiding the death statistics from all of us. That's why we have to go to the county level. Whatever county you're a resident in, you call the public health department, the coroner's office, find out whoever keeps those records and demand them and send them to me. Patrick@stopsprayingus.com. This will, and I'm going to get this translated into Urdu and Mandarin. This will be global. We are being massacred. 2015, Scotland. Deaths from respiratory failure from 2014 to 2015 went up 13.8%. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is carnage. People have died from this. This is war. It really is war. And I'm a soldier. You don't see guns. I have a microphone. I got eyes and a brain. But I am just as determined, in fact, more determined than the other side. And we have the advantage. If you ever played Dungeons and Dragons or Risk or whatever, if you're attacking, you have the disadvantage. You get 2 dice against their 3. We are defending all life on Earth. And since this is a spiritual battle, we are getting help from all life on Earth. And life isn't restricted to things with cells and like trees. Mountains and rivers have spirit, and they are powerful. I draw strength from all of these, and it's an honor. It really is. So what do we? They have hate, fear, and violence. They'll get you all, and chaos. Chaos is a big one of theirs. Anytime you feel rushed, or there's too many things, or things are competing for your attention, or you feel anxiety, stop. Wait, then proceed. And war is for grown-ups. We're all adults here. With being an adult, you have will, you have judgment, and spirit. Judgment. Judgment is important. If there's a problem, like say that share being out there, I look over there, I see there's one share out of line here. Is it a problem? No. So I don't push it back. You need to understand what is going on completely. Do not repeat anything you don't understand yet. For example, I do not know for a fact whether a modern turbofan can produce contrails or not. I do not know. I also do not know if orgonite works. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. What I do know, the power of will does. And we have enormous power, every one of us. And I mean, the examples I've used in the past, I mean, I have cats. And my cats do what they want. And I'm much larger than them, but they do what they want. One will dematerialize. It's just whatever. Your will is astonishingly powerful. We are trained from early childhood to believe, oh no, you're just this person. You're in this little box. You stop at your skin and you have no effect otherwise. Charismatic people have effect. If you're around someone who's really creepy, sort of John Podesta kind of person, you can feel, you don't have to talk to them and say, oh, by the way, do you do these horrible things? You just know we are all connected. We're in this spiritual soup, and once, like the distraction, the chaos thing, that our society is built around distracting us with, oh, you got to be here by a certain time. You got to buy this thing. You have to center yourself. You get down to stillness, then you listen, then you understand, and then you act. Thought without action is just a thought. We have to stop this, and I'm just doing my part. We all have our different skills. And, if it's basket weaving might help win this thing. But here's what I do, I suppose. So I research. I share my research. And I speak. Those are my things. I see, I hear, I speak. And what I've been doing recently, I went to the Weather Modification Association annual meeting, the second year. Last year it was on the Queen Mary in Long Beach. This year it was in Boise. And I went there because this is the above-board non-covert spraying program. They do weather, they seed clouds for rain to reduce hail size and stuff. And people, power companies will hire them, water companies, and they use silver iodide, which is relatively harmless. It's not completely harmless. Yeah, water isn't completely harmless. You can drown. But I went there to tell them that if they don't get ahead of this, I told them that I am going to be proving that the stuff at 30,000 feet is killing people, and if they do not distance themselves from them, people are going to be coming after them. They need to protect themselves. So I told them of my research and said, if you don't do this, bad things are going to happen. I also put them on notice that if I find out that any of their members are causing harm by spraying toxins, it's going to end very badly for them. So, but the weather modification programs, which were established, actually weather modification dates to before the Napoleonic War. They were shooting sulfuritic cannons. There's nothing new. We all know what's going on. Now we act. And part of that is proving how many people are getting killed, what their names are, and that will motivate people. Ken Caldera at the Commonwealth Club a while ago said, well, if people found out about the spraying, maybe they'd get a little, because since people accepted torture and wiretapping, maybe they'll accept people spraying diamonds in the sky. Well, having your phone tapped and your wife dying are two very different things. And this, I believe, is the most important thing. We can talk about, it's not about weather modification. When the troops in World War I were being gassed, they weren't saying, oh, they're messing with the weather. No, they're killing people. And they are killing people. Last winter, I was on Facebook, and because I felt pretty lousy, and I was just wondering how many other people are feeling lousy, and a lot of people said most of the people they knew were sick. When has that ever happened? Most people? This is having a massive, 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 devastating effect on humans and all life on Earth. Dolphins. Oh, right, okay, so wild dolphins are suddenly coming down with massive autoimmune failures. And they said, oh, it's pollution. So the oceans have been polluted with all kinds of stuff for years. Why now is it an autoimmune problem? And here's why. The nanoparticles that they are spraying, the size of them is very, very small. Do the math. You get millions in a tiny little speck. These particles will get they'll go across your cell membrane and interfere with the the chemical processes within your cell. And there was a paper published, I think in February, that showed how nanoparticles can trigger rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis, excuse my pronunciation, is just one of the very, very many autoimmune diseases we're coming down with. Crohn's disease, diabetes, fibromyalgia. Pick one. There's tons of them. And, you can see all the drug companies are making out like bandits on them. That is because of the nanoparticles. It's not just the fact that they're metals. Of course, aluminum leads to Alzheimer's. That's one thing. But all these brand new diseases is from this. And when I do this massive epidemiological study, I'll maybe find out that who knows, domestic violence might be linked to it, because the spraying is one part of a huge campaign against us. The electromagnetic stuff is nuts. We were driving up through Portland, coming up I-5, and every mile there was a freaking massive tower. Were they losing cell reception within a few hundred yards? I don't think so. And of course, and there was a very good, someone was telling me that it was Peter Valentino, when I was interviewed by him, he said that if you think of the spraying as the ink, the EMF transmitters are the printer, but we're electromagnetic creatures ourselves. Electromagnetic waves affect our brains, especially if they're transmitted at the frequency that matches ours. And it's monstrous. It really is. But I said last year that we're on the side of the ice cream and the puppies. They have, this nasty stuff like hate, fear, and violence. And to never use hate, fear, and violence ourselves. I'm not so sure about that. I'm not saying we should take up arms. But fear is bad, period. Fear for others is good. It's what they have, we can use against them. Legal systems, we can use that against them as well. and you think, oh, it can be done. I'm gonna really royally screw up PG&E because they did something to me, and there's a money trail, and I can take out their CEO. And I can set a precedent that the actions of a corporation rest on the executive layer of a corporation and take out all corporations. I'll take out their decision-making powers. So I just want to, like I said, I'm all about the puppies and ice cream. And if it's all puppies and ice cream, it's great. If someone from the other side comes over into my house and starts screwing things up, I'm going to take action and kick them out. And they might scuff themselves on the way out. So, maybe, who knows? But you have to be an adult. If you see a problem, you do something about it. If there's a hole in your exhaust, you patch it, or if there's something you just take. This is what adults do, and you don't need help. We get help from Spirit, but we all have the ability to do everything ourselves. We are stronger than we think. We're smarter than we think, and we are fractals of God. And here's the thing, the shills never call me on this. Spirit is real, we are all connected. And the shills. Last year, there was one of the shills, it was seriously, I actually had a dream in Death Valley last January, showing me the shill that was going to be at this conference, exactly what he was dressed like. But instead of having a plain shirt, it was checkered, and it was over left. Dylan Peach, member of Kaku. Afterwards, someone on our side accused him of being, running a dogfighting ring, which was like a completely unfounded allegation, and I went to his defense. And I was speaking to the other operative who was there, and I spoke to him as a fellow officer. Because don't think of, the spectrum of good and evil. Actually, it isn't like good, evil. It goes from love to not love. Like over here, there's less empathy. Over here, there's more. This tide, it's a little too far over to the evil side right now. If we want to move it over to our side, all we have to do is get people on the other side, put a little bit more love into them, and it'll tip the balance onto our side. These guys, right now, they're motivated by whatever, but if we can motivate them with love to want to be on our side, great. Then they become our allies. The weather modification guys, ultimately, even though I see them as the legitimate business, like a laundromat the mob operates, I can see them, because there are good people amongst them. Some of them may not be good, but I know some of them are. Having those guys on our side who understand, they work in the sky. If we had them on our side, it would be fantastic. And also, the shills who are right now, they're motivated by, spinning rims on their truck or a slightly larger flat screen TV. Once they see us actively trying to protect their loved ones, they're going to be less enthusiastic about following their bosses and show how much their bosses lie to them. Because on our side, we have truth. They are built on lies. They backstab. They have this awful thing. Yeah, they get used to it. But when they realize that on our side we have forgiveness, we just want the spraying to stop. And, if you want to come over, if you want to be a bit of a unpleasant person, we get that. We understand where you're from, but we forgive you. We forgive all the pilots. We just want them to stop. Because we're not vengeful. Well, I'm not. And They will be, I understand the prodigal son analogy, parable. I mean, you'd be so, like if Mick West finally said, actually, screw those guys, they cheated me out of a thing, and he came over to our side for whatever reasons, I would celebrate Mick West coming over to our side. We need all of them, and it's a massive operation. And right now, they are afraid to speak out because it's a covert program. Of course it is. But once they see the carnage that is being generated by this, I see this year a lot more people coming onto our side from the other side. And when we have supply, I mean, it's going to be difficult for companies because, they'll lose their contracts and all that sort of stuff, but it's going to happen. All it takes is one person listening to this who could accidentally leave his flight log in a bar, and really all I'm asking at this point is just be a little less enthusiastic about it. Take longer lunch breaks. Don't tighten the screws so hard on the whatever. And I mean, I don't want to sabotage. I do not want to cause any harm to any of them at all. My goal is no one will be hurt. No one. And when you paint the other side as monsters, we're divided. We're not divided. Everyone, if you look at the spectrum, David de Rothschild probably likes his dog. There is love in there, and you get drawn to what you like, and when you grow it in them, it works because they're doing the same to us. They're getting us to think about depravity, corruption, hate, fear, anxiety, and it works. And you got to give them props. Job well done. They have done a hell of a job on social engineering, and they use what they have: hate, fear, violence, chaos. All of us here have truth, responsibility, integrity, judgment, forgiveness, and those are what we will win with. Those are our battle. That's our sword. That's our shield. And I should have memorized Ephesians 6, but look it up, Ephesians 6:20, about the armor of God. We are fighting the dark principalities. It's not the individuals. We are, just as I am inspired by God, Spirit, Grandfather, call him what you will, they are inspired by darkness. And darkness is real. It's a thing, and it's what's behind all this stuff. But the people it employs aren't entirely evil. And that is the chink in the armor where we get in. Because they care for their children. The Rothschilds care for their children, mostly. And by protecting them, we protect ourselves. You have to be selfless. You have to do it because it's the right thing. I mean, of course, you need to protect yourself too. But I really feel protected. I mean, I have so much serendipity and love, and things just work out. And it's a blessing. But the war. When people know that it is a war, people know there's poison in the food. They know that. And this will just be one more thing. But when we show the casualties amongst our side and theirs, the other side are being killed. And when Mick West, because since they're all based on lies, even if there's, like, for example, if there's some sort of countermeasure the top guys will take to protect themselves from whatever's being sprayed that day, that does not get fed down the chain. The shills don't get it. And even if they did, they can't tell their loved ones. They have to watch their loved ones die. And if it's a choice between some office politics versus the survival of their loved ones, I think they're going to choose our side. And they don't have to come out openly and do it, but they can wait for the opportune time and like kind of screw up on their job at the appropriate time. They need to protect themselves, of course, I get that. But we all are here for a purpose. Mine is to be a loudmouth. And you already know what yours is. There is this... Zbigniew Brzezinski wrote about this grand global awakening that happened. He wrote that a few years ago. You yourself, over these last 2 years specifically, have noticed a huge increase in your own awareness of, first, of what you sort of imagine the world to be, but also how much more there is to it. Shorthand, spirit. This is happening globally. And the ramp up of the other side is a reaction to that, I believe. And change is difficult. Any change involves the grieving process. The grieving process has, first it's bargaining, denial, bargaining, eventually through to acceptance. If you buy a new pair of shoes, you kind of miss the old pair. No matter how small the change is, it's difficult. Those on the other side who see this, they're afraid, because their fear is part of their thing. They have to go through change. And it's our job, it's our responsibility to shepherd them through the grieving process. Even though what they're going to may be better, like the shoes may be better and you miss the old ones, we have to help them. And I really think that we should target, wrong word, try to reach the very darkest people on the other side. Because people in the middle, we'll get to them as well. But if we can directly we all have an opposite number. I haven't met mine yet. And I'd like to meet him. It'll be a entertaining thing because they're like Bizarro Patrick, whoever he is, hates cats, and whatever, that guy. Because we have a lot in common. To understand the other side, imagine what you are and imagine the reverse of it. That's who your opposite number is. And we have, again, when I use this war analogy, people think, oh, you go on the attack. No, you defend. And defense is always, you have a huge advantage. We have truth. I mean, come on, that's a big one. And the more you understand yourself, the more you understand the other side, even though that sounds confusing, but it's true. Understand yourself, and then get a full understanding of everything around you. And when you have a full understanding, then you can speak with authority and people will hear your truth and know it. The battle is about to begin. Remember your training. And you've been trained your entire lives. I have, and it's not just my life, it's my parents and my grandparents. It's an honor, again, to be on the right side. And frankly, I think the other side are really excited about them going into their grand battle as well. They will lose, but I respect them. Respect is another one of our things. They are our future friends. We are going into this beautiful time, and yeah, there's work to be done. You know what that work is. Do it. You understand, you observe, you understand, you act, and you listen to your gut and do the right thing. That is God speaking to you. And I could go on about how in Paris, most children they looked at had nanofiber carbon tubes in their lungs, or in Turin, Italy, most children had severe DNA damage from nanoparticles. We don't need any more evidence, but once we collect it, data is used against us, we use it against them. This camera, this microphone, all of these things were used to enslave us. I pick it up and use it against them. Donna here is using this wonderful iPhone and thingy. That's a slave tracking device. I use that against them. If whatever they drop in the field of battle, you can pick it up and use it against them, but you don't use it to harm them. You can use it as a shield, to educate, to whatever. Just because they kept telling us they are more powerful than us doesn't make it so. And when you have free will, you also have the free will of who you choose to listen to. That's an often overlooked thing. Like, say you're at a restaurant with your girlfriend, you can listen to her or you can listen to someone on the other table. No, you listen to your girlfriend. We do not need them. Them being, I call them the scumbags. They like us to believe we need them for whatever. We don't. We are all individual, sovereign human beings. I mean, they have done a mind expletive deleted on the population thinking, oh, we need them for whatever. We don't. And since every single body of government and media and politics and everything have said, oh no, those are vapor trails, when everyone knows they're lying, suddenly no one pays any attention to them, and all they are trying to do is get our attention. They want to draw us into their dark energy and think we're dependent. No. We are instead, eating ice cream and playing with kittens. We don't need them. And when we remove their power or decapitate all corporations, which I'm going to do, it's actually no. I'm going to do a YouTube. I'm going to say here it is, and I'm actually going to send it to PG&E and say, by the way, this is really going to screw you up. I want you to know this is going to happen unless you take out old smart meters. And if they don't, sorry, I'm taking away your toys. And I'm going to show you how you do it. And it'll cost you, actually, it's going to be funny. I'm actually going to, basically, they put a smart meter on, and there's a thing where you can get it off. I did the thing, and they gave me something else instead, a digital non-communicating meter. And I raised holy hell about it, embarrassed them in front of the Public Utilities Commission, and they still put it on and charged me for the analog meter. I paid and they accepted. So I got them by the small claims. And then I'll establish, like, the CEO could have resigned instead of letting this happen. So he's personally responsible. So I can take, I'm holding the faults of a corporation for whatever. So I'll be doing that, and I'll share it on YouTube. But yeah, don't piss off an Irishman. It takes a lot to piss me off, but sorry, you do. I mean, and that's the thing. That thing, they use their smart meter, their court system, their money, and I just turn it around and put it back at them. That's when you're attacked. Whatever you're being attacked with, that's the tool you use to just turn around, and it messes them up 1,000-fold. Because you're defending everyone else behind you. You are protected, you are guided, and again, it's an honor. I'm having the best time of my life. And it's the worst possible thing. They're killing millions, and I'm having a ball. Because, fuck that. 5 minutes? Okay. So I have no qualifications. I'm just some guy. Like the Paris thing, when I say everything in my life led up to it, there was the Paris Climate Conference, and I wrote this paper, Human Health Impacts of Proposed Geoengineering Solutions. I'd never written a paper in my life, except back in the 90s, I happened to be working in a job where there were some medical students who wanted their papers edited, so I knew APA format. I did it in a day and done. Everything, if you look through your past, every crappy TV show that you watched, whatever, even driving in traffic, is an essential part of who you are and what you're able to do today. We have all been trained. We are this army. And you think of army, they have all these organizations and ranks and blah. We have a much more powerful, much larger, much tighter, connected army than they will ever have. And we don't even know it. Anywhere you go, there's help, there's inspiration, there's the right person telling you the right thing that you need to know right at that time. I've said we've already won, but we're still being sprayed, and we have to do the right thing. And you know what it is. I'm doing this thing. Getting all the death records will be another thing. And these are just my specialties. Whatever you have, you know it yourself, do that. And like I said, there is quite a bit of the movement. I hate calling things movements. There's disagreement. Of course there is. I mean, people have different ideas, but if you listen to your gut, and I don't eat crappy food. If it smells bad, I don't eat it. If you feel uncomfortable, if you feel anxious, if you feel chaos, if you're getting that from a source, whoever it might be from their side, it might seem to come from our side, just don't do it. You'll feel much better. You'll feel less anxious, and your food will be better, and all that good stuff. But this is the year it ends. This is the year everyone knows that it's going on. This is the year that all the people who have been denying it will say, yeah, well, we thought it would be best not to tell you, but hey, what about my freaking wife? They're all going to they're going to have a hard time, and it will be difficult for them, but we need not to direct our anger against them. They need to know, even though they're on the side of hate, fear, and violence, that it'll be okay to stop doing it. Is all is forgiven. We do not need vengeance. Frankly, we're crap at it. That's not what we do. We need it to stop. And then they have all these planes and stuff, and they can, I don't know, maybe do something beneficial, like spray, vitamin C or so, I don't know, whatever. So something nice, free trips to wherever, something. But again, the spraying is just one very small little part of the war. The larger thing, the depopulation thing goes way back. Plato was talking about too many ancient Greeks. Technocracy. You need to understand technocracy. What they want to do, we've heard of Agenda 21. They want, whenever the next financial crisis happens, they would like to say, oh yes, this whole money supply and demand thing isn't working, we're going to move over to energy credits. This is a crackpot idea that was dreamed up in the 1930s, resurrected by Zbigniew Brzezinski in the 70s, and this is what smart grid, smart everything is, and they want to limit. If they can say, oh, this country can only have this much carbon, that means the country can say each individual can have so much carbon. That includes whether you can have a child, how long you can keep your relatives on, extend their lives, or whether you yourself are too much of a carbon sink. So fuck that too. Sorry. Don't forget. Our specialty is the spraying, but don't forget the rest of the war. We need to stop all of that too. And so yeah, let's do it. So that's it. And apologies if this was unrehearsed, because I never rehearse. So yeah, there you have it. But it is. We have God on our side. They have another God who is a cheat and a liar and will screw them over. And when they realize that and that our side is better, it's just going to happen. They know it's going to happen, and they're going through the last lashings out of whatever they have to do. But if we make their process easier, the sooner this all finishes. So, but again, I'd like to encourage people, find out who has your death records, raw death records, not some homogenized, oh, so many people. If we get control of that, and we have libraries of photos and videos going back so many years, match those two data sets together, it's over. So that's what I'm going to do. So thank you for your time, and yay us. Oh yeah, question. Yeah?
Do I ask for death records on the days that I know I have chemtrail?
No, you ask for all of their death records as far back as they have them electronically, all of them. And then afterwards, once we have this running, we need to have court injunctions that we get the real-time records as soon as they get reported. Everywhere in the world. So that's the plan. Any question? Anyone else? Oh. Sure.
Along the lines of, you had intimations that there's a spiritual
Absolutely, yeah.
struggle in here, and it's certainly something I've considered personally, and whether this actually is even being orchestrated terrestrially.
I don't know.
Do you have opinions on that?
Well,
because and I want to complete the thought here. For anyone who does have family, even if you're in the controlling aspect of this, it's natural that we do protect our family. So if they're being exposed to all the, nasties, kind of makes you wonder, well, then what's going on above that level? So I'm curious in your
okay, two things. Well, first of all, if you know what's being sprayed, you know what countermeasures to take so they can protect their families. That's one. But before I was told by Spirit, oh, by the way, hi, I'm Spirit. Good to meet you, Patrick. I was puzzled by they've been doing the same thing for thousands of years. If you look in the Bible, if you look at Plato's Republic, the same techniques have been used for millennia, outlasting religions. This is longer than a human lifespan. And ideas come and go, but these ones stay. This means there is something other than human, or has other than a human lifespan. So could that be time travelers, or dimensional shifters, or aliens, or spirits, or ghosts, or jinn, or whatever? I don't know, but whatever it is, exists. And I know for a fact that Spirit does, and maybe the aliens were in biblical times, people saw them as angels. I don't know what that is. I don't know. And again, I can't speak with authority, but I do know it's longer than a human lifespan. And I do not rule out aliens at all. Because I haven't met one yet, but it's very, 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 very dark. If you, anyway, sorry, I'm running out of time. Okay. Yeah. Oh, no, that's good. I said plenty. Oh, yeah. One last thing. So you can find me on Stop Spraying Us. If you'd like to help me, I have these cool pins there. And they're on stopsprayingus.com. You can get them as well. So I will be, like I said, going to Berlin and all these other things. So all help is good. But you need to protect yourself first. We, by nature, want to protect, we wouldn't be here if we didn't want to protect others. You have to protect yourself too. That's not selfish. If you are a firefighter and you want to save a family and a thing, if you do not protect yourself, you cannot protect the family. You got to protect yourself first. That's a very important lesson I learned this year. But anyway, thank you. Yay.